In a few moments, they're going to be talking about The Apprentice. Going to be watching it, or do you give it a bit of a wide berth? I must admit, I've sort of. I wouldn't say I was ever in love with The Apprentice, don't get me wrong. I used to watch it, and then the contestants just seem to be even more annoying. Now, is that me being less tolerant and sort of getting a bit sort of middle-aged and grumpy, or are they getting even more irritating? Maybe it's a little bit of both. But we do have a Nottinghamshire interest in the programme this time around, so exploring that and whether or not The Apprentice is actually a true reflection of business these days. I don't think it is, personally, but hey-ho, we'll find out. Now, if you would... No, hang on a minute, I'll just play the part of the secretary. Lord Sugar will see you now, get in there. Something like that. So no sooner has the Great British Bake Off finished than this starts on your telly, of course. The Apprentice is back tonight. It's a double-header, isn't it? So it's 2 nights in a row it's on. And flying the flag for Nottinghamshire is 25-year-old David Stevenson. Now, he owns a sports media company in Wheeligate. Well, he's quite a modest chap, as it goes.
I would make the ideal candidate for The Apprentice this year, for the fact that I've got a couple more tweed jackets to brighten up the show, but also not only my charisma and my talent, but my fact to be able to grit the room and to draw everybody in and to make them listen to every word that I say.
So it's modest enough. I think he'll go far. So is that kind of attitude going to win him friends in the boardroom and, more to the point, win over Lord Sugar? Let's find out. Aaron Dix is Managing Director of Impression, a digital marketing agency based in Stony Street in town. Just thinking, you're a similar age to David, aren't you, really?
I'm 25 in literally a few weeks, so very similar.
Would you go on the show?
I've been thinking about it quite a lot recently. I don't think I would, to be honest. No, I think quite a lot of the tasks that you're asked to do, especially in the early few episodes, is probably a little bit beyond my comfort level. And I know that's the point of the show. But if there are a few more digital tasks, perhaps I'll be a little bit more interested.
How realistic is the I know it's entertainment, but the business world isn't really like that, is it?
No, not at all. Well, not in my experience. I think the skills that Lord Sugar's testing for, though, are quite visible through the tasks they're asked to perform. But I haven't yet had to sell any fish finger sandwiches in Bermondsey Market, so to that extent, from a practical level, no, unfortunately not.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing with it, as I say, it's an entertainment show, and some of those characters, as we just heard there, are larger than life, but I guess they have to be for the programme. It brings to mind how much personality, how much business nous it's all about.
Well, ultimately, I think it's an entertaining show. It's a family show, so there must be some element of selection in there as to which characters are going to make for good television.
Yeah.
But there's obviously there's £250,000 at stake at the end, so there's got to be some business nous in there as well. And hopefully, early on in the series, we'll start to see some of that dynamic playing out. And I think we'll know fairly early on who's going to be leaving quite soon and who isn't. I know they always keep a few people in there that perhaps not everyone agrees with, but again, I think that's just down to the show being show business. Really.
Yes, it keeps it interesting, doesn't it?
Definitely.
If you were in there, if you were a contestant, how do you think you would play it?
I think there's no other way apart from just being quite brash early on, to be honest. You obviously don't want to upset Lord Sugar or his aides, especially now, obviously, Nick Hewer's moved on.
Yeah, Claude,
yes.
I would not cross him at all.
I certainly wouldn't like my CV in front of him. So yeah, I think honest but bold, and to take that leadership role as soon as possible, just to really set the tone, I think.
Yeah. Looking at the people who've been on that programme before as well, there's an element of ruthlessness as well.
Definitely.
How ruthless do you have to be in your day-to-day job?
So we're quite fortunate in that we don't really have to be ruthless per se in anything we do in our industry, but ultimately at the end of the day we're a service business for in the B2B arena. We are in competitive pitches quite often, so there's that element of wanting to win, but I think ruthless is probably the wrong word. I think some of our clients would probably be up in arms if we put ourselves as a ruthless business.
So when they're in their blacked out people carriers and it's win at all costs, it's not like that for you.
Not for us. No, I'm sure some businesses are like that, but
Yeah.
certainly in my experience, that's not what we have to go through in the real world, as it were.
And you mentioned they're B2B. What's that? Business to
Business to business. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, I'm picking up the lingo. It's all right. Now you were just saying last year's winner, Mark Wright, is in a similar, well, almost identical kind
Very
of business
similar,
to
yes.
you.
Yes, so Mark runs a digital marketing agency now based in London, and we run a digital marketing agency now, well, based in Nottingham. So some of the services we offer are actually near identical, dare I say it.
Right.
Yes. It's good. Sorry.
Have your paths crossed at all?
Only slightly. So we do actually both work for the same client. Interestingly enough, we haven't met personally yet, but I did see him speak at a conference earlier in the year.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of admiration for him getting up on stage so early in his new career and addressing the audience.
What kind of things was he saying?
Well, really, I think he was setting the tone for the industry. So it was an industry conference. I think it's fair to say a few people in the industry were shocked that he won because he comes from a sales background, not from a technical implementation kind of background.
Yeah.
But he kind of bared all in this talk. It was in April in Brighton it was, and really kind of set the tone for the industry and explained the fact that he's the managing director, he's the sales guy, he's going to be pushing the business forward, growing the team and managing the team, and he's going to hire with the money that Lord Sugar's injected, hire the consultants, which he has done. So I think fair play to him.
Yeah. It's an interesting approach to say, I might be taking words completely out of his mouth and out of context here, so forgive me if I am, but if he's saying, look, I don't really know that much about it, but I can do the selling, it's quite a brave thing to do.
I think he definitely could sell on the benefits, and I'm sure he was more than aware of how it all happened. But ultimately, he did obviously come from that sales background, so his skill set was more in line with what he's actually doing now anyway. So, yeah, definitely.
And how's it going for him? Do you know? Because sometimes in the media you tend to read about the people who've fallen by the wayside.
Absolutely.
In the papers, don't you?
I see that of the 4 latest series where Lord Sugar's invested £250,000, every business seems to be going quite well. At least
Right.
3 of the 4, I believe. And for Mark, from what I see from the outside, it's certainly going well for him, I believe. I know he's recently moved office into London, so I mean it's great for being able to access a bit more talent, but also a few larger clients.
Sure.
I know Lord Sugar's also still messaging, tweeting out for him, so hopefully that's working out well for him.
Yeah. What about you? How's your business going?
It's going well, thank you, from strength to strength.
Good.
So we've been trading now for a total of 3 years, but only of those 2 have been full-time. We've gone from 2 to 15 staff, so we've been able to employ a lot of local Nottingham people into the digital world. So
Well, you don't need The Apprentice. You're doing all right without that. Are you going to watch it later?
definitely, yes. I'll be tuned in. I think I'll be stuck to at least this series. I did watch quite a lot of last series as well, so as soon as digital people are involved,
Your
piqued my
ears
interest
prick
quite a lot.
up, yeah. All right. Good to see you again, Aaron. Thank you.
you.
Aaron Dix, who's MD of Impression then, based, as I say, in Nottingham City Centre. In a few moments' time, you're going to be hearing, in just a moment, about a man trying to get businesses to work together for the good of Nottinghamshire. So it's not all about falling out and bickering and all of that. No, this is all about working together. Details on the way after this. Back to business in hand then. Apprentice is back on telly later on. And you, no doubt, will be rooting for this fella, 25-year-old David Stevenson, cause he's local.
Well, me and Lord Sugar work well together because you've got age and beauty. Those two go hand in hand all the time. Sugar's got the age, and I certainly am beautiful.
So you're calling Lord Sugar old. OK, well done. So, Simon Gray is from Nottingham Means Business, an organisation set up to promote collaboration among firms and strengthen the economy of Nottinghamshire. He's on the line. Morning, Simon.
Good morning, Mark.
Just going back to this thing of how The Apprentice makes business look, does it paint you in a good light?
Well, I think it's good and bad for business. First off, it raises the profile of entrepreneurship and encourages young people to think about starting their own businesses, which is great. But then, people go on the show because they want to court relations with the media, say some silly things. And we've got to remember that it's a TV show at the end of the day. It's about entertainment, and that's its primary purpose.
Yeah. Has it encouraged, over the 10 years that it's been on now, has it encouraged more people to try and set up their own business?
I don't know whether there's a direct correlation, but I think it certainly raised the awareness that, if you come out of school, college, university, you don't necessarily need to go into the job market. There is another avenue, which is, starting a business. You've had Aaron on who runs a digital business. Whether he was actually inspired by The Apprentice, I'm not sure. But I just think it helps people just see another option that's open to them.
Yeah. Is it a good time to be doing that? Keep hearing about the economy is supposedly recovering. Is it a good time?
Well, I personally started a business in September 2008, which was possibly the worst time ever to start a business at the outset of the financial crisis. So I would say, yes, absolutely, now is a good time. I think one of the options open to people nowadays is the advent of the internet. If you run a digital business, you can create a profile at fairly low cost and get a message out there to a wide audience. So it's probably never been easier to start a business than right now. And, I'd encourage people to do it, but do it sensibly. It means you've got to have a plan, you've got to have an idea, and you've got to take the right steps to get your business launched.
Would you go on The Apprentice?
Do you know what? I would love to.
Would you?
I would love to, yeah. And I'll let you into a little secret. A number of years ago, I did apply. And they selected me to go down for the interview, which apparently isn't an interview. Apparently, what happens is they get you in a hotel, and 10 of you march in. They take a look at you, ask you a couple of questions, then they make an instant decision, because you never know what they're looking for. And I think they need some good business people on there, but in actual fact, they want people who are going to stir things up a little bit and create a good TV show.
So you're too nice.
I would say that I'd be too serious, and I would, all of the nonsense that people say, I wouldn't be saying that stuff. I'd have a proper business head on me, and I'd be determined to win. I can tell you that.
Yeah. So you're too serious and too good, I think.
Well, your words, but
okay.
Yeah, certainly seeing some of the contestants we've seen in previous years, yeah, I'd be a bit better than some of those, that's for sure.
Okay, and let me ask you finally about what you actually do. So Nottingham Means Business, because this is all about collaboration as opposed to what you often see on The Apprentice, which is sort of the opposite in lots of ways.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Nottingham Means Business, we're a private sector-led organisation, 230 member organisations across Nottingham and Nottinghamshire, and we run regular events really to promote Nottingham to the outside world and to encourage businesses to collaborate with one another. Because, Aaron, who was on earlier, his business sits in something called the Creative Quarter. If you can get people in a certain geographical area talking to one another, collaborating, then there's some real good synergistic gains to be had. So we see our role as supporting that kind of growth for Nottingham and promoting Nottingham to the outside world.
Good having you on. Good use of the word synergistic there. I like that.
You like that?
And
okay,
thank you very much indeed. Simon Gray.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you.
Simon Gray from Nottingham Means Business on BBC Radio Nottingham. So there we are. You're going to be watching that later on, The Apprentice, BBC One.